Bonjour, bienvenue. Welcome back to Grade 8 French. This is the first of two grammar / parts of speech lessons from Unité 2, Unit 2. Today we are looking at le passé composé avec avoir. Last year, we learned how to read and write sentences that were written in the future tense. Now, we are going to learn how to read and write sentences that are written in the past tense. In French, the past tense is called le passé composé. In English, we sometimes use the verb have to write sentences in the past tense. For example, we can write, I have finished my work. We can also write, they have left. Today, we are going to look at how to write sentences in the past tense by using the auxiliary verb avoir, meaning to have. The charts on the next slides will be a helpful guide for today's grammar / parts of speech work. If the verb ends in er, we first write the correct conjugation of the auxiliary verb avoir. Then we conjugate the verb according to the chart below. So let's take a closer look at this slide. So we start off with our subject, starting with j'ai apostrophe for je, all the way down to elles. And then what comes next is our conjugation of the verb avoir. It's the auxiliary verb, meaning that it comes in place of the main verb that we're using in the sentence. So here I've conjugated avoir for you, and when we review this video in tomorrow's class, I'll be testing you. This will be covered up. So make sure that you take some time to read over this conjugation chart if you forget how to conjugate avoir. And I'll give you a couple of minutes after I finish talking to look this over. Okay, and here's a really interesting part. So we write the verb which appeared in the original sentence, and what we do is we take the final two letters, the er, away, and in their place we add e with an accent. And we do that all the way down from je all the way to elles. So this makes it very helpful. Okay, it doesn't matter what the verb is. If it ends in er, you drop the er, you put the e with the accent. Okay, so put the video on pause just so that you can study over this chart for a minute or two, and then we'll move on. All right. If the verb ends in re, we first write the correct conjugation of the auxiliary verb avoir. Then we conjugate the verb according to the chart below. So this looks very similar to the prior chart. So I have my subjects, starting with je, all the way down to elles. My next step is to conjugate the auxiliary verb avoir, just like I did with the previous chart. But now here's what's really interesting. In terms of changing the main verb, I drop the re and I put a u at the end. I honestly don't know where French speakers came up with the idea of replacing re with u from, but that's the rule. Okay, and it works for all of the subjects, je all the way to elles. So put the video on pause so you can study this chart. Okay, and we have one more chart to go. If the verb ends in ir, we first write the correct conjugation of the auxiliary verb avoir. Then we conjugate the verb according to the chart below. So this must look very familiar by this point. So you've got all of the subjects listed, then our conjugations for avoir, and then this makes a little more sense. When we're conjugating the main verb, putting it into the past tense, drop the IR, just finish the verb off with an I. Okay, so take a minute or two, put the video on pause, and look over this chart. All right, I think it's time for us to get into some activities. So let's practice writing in Le Passe Compose. These first 5 questions involve conjugating ER verbs in brackets. So for example, Elle, 2 blanks, la chanson. She blank, double blank, the song. Composé, wrote, or to write. So we want to change that to she writes the song into she wrote the song. So we start off with Elle. Looking back on our avoir chart, the correct conjugation is a. And because I'm using an English keyboard, I just need to go back and add my accent. I conjugate composé. Okay, so I dropped the ER from composé and I replaced it with an E, with an accent. La chanson. So now we have she wrote the song. Okay, I'm going to do the first one and then leave the remaining 4 for you to try at home. And then I'll test you on this in tomorrow's class. So we have new, 2 blanks, le concert. The verb is filmer. So basically in the present tense, we would say we film the concert, but we want to write that so it means we filmed the concert, or rather we have filmed the concert. So thinking back to conjugating avoir, when it's new, it's going to be news avant. And as with all ER verbs, when we're putting them into the past tense, so passe composé, I'm going to write the verb, but I'm going to drop the ER. And I'm going to replace those 2 letters with an E with my accent. So now we have filmed the concert. So what I want you to do when I finish speaking is put the video on pause and try out these remaining 4 questions. Now let's move on. These next 5 questions involve conjugating IR verbs. So we have Cathy, 2 blanks, in disque compact, choisir. So in the present tense, we would say Cathy chooses a compact disc. But we want to rewrite this so that it means Cathy has chosen a compact disc. So Cathy is Elle. So again, it's a. Because it's an IR verb, I'm dropping the IR and replace those 2 letters with an I. So take a look at this. You know what? We did new in the last slide. So let's look at deux. Les mouches, double blank, a volé la chanson. So les mouches succeed, les mouches succeed in stealing the song. Okay, but we want to change that so that we say les mouches have succeeded in stealing the song. So les mouches means ils. So I conjugate avoir. I have les mouches ont. So conjugué d'avoir. Now, look at my verb, réussir, which means to succeed. So I'm going to rewrite the verb, except I'm going to drop those last two letters and replace them with an I. Okay, put the video on pause and try out the remaining four questions. All right. These final five questions involve conjugating RE verbs. So for example, Dave, double blank, au courriel de Cathy. Répondre is in brackets. So in the present tense, it means Dave responds to the email from Cathy. Okay, but we want to write this in le passé composé in the past tense. So it means Dave has responded to Cathy's email. So Dave is il. So it's going to be Dave a. Répondre changes to répondu. So I'm going to do quatre for you. Okay, we have je, double blank, le texte original. And perdre is a verb. Okay, perdre means to lose. So I want to change a sentence from I lose the original text to I have lost the original text. So I have to conjugate avoir. I'm working with je, so that is going to change to j'ai. And I'm going to rewrite my main verb, perdre. Again, it means to lose. But I'm going to drop the RE. The RE will change to AU. Okay, so put the video on pause so that you can try out the remaining four questions. All right. To write sentences in the past tense in the negative, we place the words ne and pas around the auxiliary verb, the conjugation of avoir. So let's rewrite these sentences in the negative form. I'm going to do the first one for you, and then leave the remainder for you to do at home. Elle a composé la chanson. There's my accent. Okay, so she has written the song, but I want to change that to she has not written the song. So what I'll do, so write Elle. I'm going to put ne and pas around my auxiliary verb. So in this case, that's a from avoir. So elle n'a pas composé la chanson. Okay, I can just write the final words in that spot. So put the video on pause so that you can try these next two problems. All right. Okay, I'm anticipating that we'll do very well when we go through this lesson in tomorrow's class, and you will get some independent practice time. So you will need your cahiers in class tomorrow. We'll have some handy dandy exercises to help you further practice with your newly gained knowledge of le passé composé. But until tomorrow's class, this concludes today's video.